Welcome back to round number two for our MSS Gym Challenge. Today, here in Pico Rivera, California, I'm Dennis Geisler. I don't have anyone with me, so we're just getting into round number two. We have Alberto, Lara, and Maguire Adams here, both at 0-1, coming into round number two. And we have the legendary Pokemon for Scarlet and Violet matchup here. You've got the Miraidon on Alberto's side and the Coridon on Maguire's side. Alberto with the Chiyu, Whimsicott, Urshifu, Rapid Strike, Fluttermane, Golden Go, and Miraidon. Covert Cloak, Electro Drift, Volt Switch, Draco Meteor, Protect. On Maguire's side, it's the Raging Bolt, Ogerpon, Wellspring, Ursaluna, Blood Moon, Entei, Giraffe, and the Coridon with the Terrifier, Clear Amulet, Collision Course, Flare Blitz, Bulk Up, and Protect. We seeing the Coridon for the second time today, alongside the couple of other things that we've seen a little bit before. Actually, nothing we've seen before today. I'm a huge liar. None of the rest of Maguire's Pokemon were in the first one. On Alberto's side, very hyper-offensive style with the Miraidon. It's not Specs, but it does have Chiyu Beads of Ruin to make up for that damage in the aggregate. There's a Specs Chiyu. Also got the Whimsicott to set up the Tailwind. Fluttermane to booster speed and run people over with Icy Wind. Just a ton of damage on Alberto's side, and a ton of special damage particularly. See how Maguire matches up into that. Do have the Ogerpon Wellspring potentially. Could go for the Terra. And we see the Ogerpon Wellspring come out immediately. With the Furgiraff. Furgiraff is Helping Hand, Uproar, Dazzling Gleam, Trick Room. I'll be totally real with you, I barely know what Uproar does. So we'll see how this one goes. Obviously the Furgiraff will block any priority attempts from the Whimsicott with that Armor Tail. But the Fluttermane on Alberto's side is booster speed, I think we already saw. You can go for the early Moonblast against Ogerpon. You can do a little under half double Moonblast into the Ogerpon. Not going to pick up the knockout. Ogerpon with the Ivy Cudgel going into the Whimsicott slot. A little interesting there. I wonder if it was predicting a switch. But regardless, Trick Room will get up. So overall, not a bad turn for Maguire, getting the Trick Room immediately. The fact that we haven't seen any restricteds yet is always interesting. Fluttermane and the Whimsicott can stall out turns with the Protects. Also try to knock out that Ogerpon, which isn't doing a ton of damage, but still is a bit of a damage threat. With a 1 Protect, pick which one you want to take the hit and hope that the other one is not the one that's being targeted. Instead, Ogerpon's just going to swap out here. It's going to be the Ursaluna Blood Moon coming in. I wanted to say that out loud, but I didn't, and then it happened, and then Ursaluna Blood Moon's now on the field. Anyways, double Protect, so Ursaluna Blood Moon gets in for free, and now gonna be doing some real damage with that Hyper Voice. It's Life Orb, it's not Throat Spray, so it can do whatever it wants, but Hyper Voice is probably gonna run over both these Pokemon. Especially when combined with the Dazzling Gleam from the Furgiraff, which also was a nice coverage for that Miraidon, since it can't Terra. That's the biggest rule. You can't Terra on the turn you switch in. So if you switch it in, it's gonna get hit by Dazzling Gleam. It'll also get hit by Hyper Voice. So this Hyper Voice is gonna takes down the Whimsicott, gets the crit. I don't think it was necessary. Doesn't do as much damage as I thought it would to Fluttermane. There's the Life Orb recoil. See how much damage the Dazzling Gleam does. Should not pick up the knockout. This Fluttermane is bulky. Moonblast, very specially frail, is the Ursaluna Blood Moon. And it will take that. About half its HP taken out by that one. Miraidon with the Hadron Engine coming in here. First time we're seeing Miraidon on stream today. Gets up the electric terrain, does tons of electric type damage. Has a great time. Most of them that you see around are Specs. This one's actually Covert Cloak. meaning it can switch moves. It does have the Protect if it wants to. A lot of things available to the Miraidon. But no Beads of Ruin on the field right now, so it won't be able to boost its damage to those crazy levels. I say that, but now it will be boosted by Beads of Ruin with Chi-Yu coming out on the field here. You gotta remember, this Ursaluna is resistant, and Miraidon's just gonna protect, gonna scout something out here. Chi-Yu might take a bunch of damage from another Hyper Voice Dazzling Gleam combo. Gonna take single damage from each of them. Neutral hits both, but it's gonna take a little under half the HP there. And the Dazzling Gleam should not knock out. Should do okay damage, maybe a quarter. I'm just kind of guessing. A little under a quarter. I don't know how much Trick Room is left. I think this is the last turn. But the camera is covering it up, so I have no idea. And neither do you, unless you've been counting the turns. Maybe you did. Still Koraidon in the back for Maguire, presumably. It could be. We don't actually know for sure. But presumably Koraidon in the back for Maguire. Be another switch out here. Fluttermane coming back in. Potentially will be finished off here. Ursaluna just going for the Earth Power onto the Miraidon. Just going to take it out. Wiped out 100-0. Not really much that Alberto could do about that one. And for a Giraffe will Uproar. It will get blocked by the Fluttermane. But regardless, I think Maguire's in a pretty good spot. No Trick Room up anymore, but obviously Chi-Yu Flutter has some good aspects to it, but this is not... This is a Chi-Yu Flutter where both of them are on pretty low HP, and it's a Chi-Yu Flutter where Flutter doesn't actually have the booster speed because it has already switched out. Maguire's going to switch out the Fur Giraffe. Interesting. Might just be trying to sack 2 Pokemon, get them out of the way, and might be what happens. Ursaluna's going to protect, so it'll actually stay around. Gotta imagine Ogerpon's about to get taken out here. Even this Icy Wind, yeah, it'll be able to pick up the KO. And the Chi-Yu will lock itself into Flamethrower, which is an interesting choice. Not sure why I wouldn't go for Heat Wave, but Flamethrower is a little bit better damage. Doesn't miss. And Koraidon out of the... Okay, well, hi, Fluttermane. Koraidon's out on the field now. And I think that should be it. It's going to be difficult. Fluttermane does get the Photosynthesis boost back, which is interesting. So that is a nice boost for Alberto. But I think that means that the Terra on Koraidon is a pretty easy click here. And I don't really know what Alberto can do about that. I think Koraidon is going to be able to get out of this one. There is the Terrascal. Gotta imagine it's the Koraidon here. Yeah, there's the Terrafire Koraidon. And it is going to take the Icy Wind first. Hits both targets. Going to knock out the Ursaluna. Critical hit on the Koraidon, didn't really do much regardless. It's gonna drop the speed, but actually it won't drop the speed. Very annoying. Koraidon with the Flare Blitz in the sun, going to take down that Fluttermane. Probably the more dangerous option right now, given the Chi-Yu. All it's gonna be doing is Flamethrowering. Decent damage, but don't think it'll be enough to be all that scary to the Koraidon here. Wow, that was way more damage than I thought. That's actually really scary. I guess it is Chi-Yu specs Flamethrower in Sun. Like it's almost the meme calc. But still, that was a ton of damage. Still think Maguire has this one. I think the Fur Giraffe will be able to get out of this one either way. There's the Terra. It's the Terra Ghost on the Chi-Yu. Got to be locked into the Flamethrower. So all I can do is that. Does block the Collision Course. Does pick up that on the read. There's the Flamethrower. Chiyu could actually get out of this one if Maguire picked the wrong move here. If Maguire decided to go for the uproar here, that could be an out for the Chiyu. It's a dazzling gleam. Ooh, it is the uproar. Ooh, that's really interesting. Electricity disappears from the battlefield, but now Chiyu with the flamethrower in Sun against a Farigiraf might be able to take this thing down. Farigiraf is bulky. It will not take the hit, and Alberto clutches that one. Absolutely clutched Chiyu, picking up the win in game number 1. Maguire had that one, but 2 moves getting nulled by the Terra to Ghost. And Alberto just hadn't jumped on the Terra before then, but had that out right at the end. Man, that was a that was an interesting one. I don't think Maguire's gonna underestimate that Chiyu again for a while, because that was probably a who cares? It's a Chiyu, it's a fire type move against my fire guy. I'll at least take 2 of them. I'll be fine. But that was some ridiculous damage from the Chiyu. And it's part of why you bring the Chiyu into this matchup against the Koraidon team, where you know that Sun is going to get up at some point. You're going to be able to do that crazy Chiyu damage. And you won't even have to dedicate to Sun yourself. Somebody else will do it for you. Getting in now to game number 2. Both these players at 0-1. Still a chance to claw their way back through this tournament. You always start behind the 8 ball if you start at 0-1, especially if you start at 0-2, you know? That's how it is. Game number 2 getting underway now. Good leads for each of these sides. It's going to be Ogerpon for Farigiraf again for Maguire, and it's going to be Golden Go Fluttermane for Alberto. It was the Fluttermane last time, but it wasn't the Golden Go. I think. Yeah, no, it's definitely a Fluttermane last. Anyways, Golden Go in this time. It is Life Orb, Make It Rain, Shadow Ball, Nasty Plot, Protect. It's interesting seeing kind of the trail down of resources where Chiyu has the specs taken up, so Maridon can't have it, and Golden Go has the Life Orb taken up, so Maridon can't have that, and so it goes for Covert Cloak. Still a nice answer, but... In any case, the Golden Go could go for a pretty free Nasty Plot here. I don't think it's threatened by much on the field right now. The taunt onto the Farigiraf. That is taunt as the last move on Fluttermane. It's Moonblast, Icy Wind, Taunt, Protect. Ogerpon's Ivy Cudgel into the Golden Go. Does some good damage. This is actually going to be, overall, not a terrible turn for Maguire because of how much that Ivy Cudgel did. Trick Room is down, but Trick Room is not, like, it didn't get up. It got taunted. No Trick Room. But that does mean that Ogerpon is still faster than the Golden Go and should be able to take that Golden Go out. It is Terra Steel, so there's not really much you can do about it. And the software was closed because an error occurred. We will figure out the... we will figure out the issue. Players will solve the issue on their end. For the as per the rules, Alberto, whose game was the one that closed, Maguire stayed running, so Alberto gets issued the game loss. So we'll head to game 3 after that start to game number 2. So, get a quick reset from each of these players and go into game number 3 because game number 2 got whooshed away. At least it was a very early disconnect. It didn't determine. You know, it's just a casual early game loss. You know, just things like this happen. In any case, game number 3. We'll see if they decide to lead the same things. Maguire went with the Maguire went with the Fridgeraff Ogerpon Wellspring lead 2 games in a row. Curious to see if that's the answer the 3rd time. Hi, it's me again. I'm Dennis. As a reminder to all of you, we've got the mid-season showdown today. We've got our mid-season showdown tomorrow, but it's at Griffith Park. You can find information about it somewhere. I'll find that. I'll find out where you can find information about it. You can like look up like Gym Challenge Griffith Park, and you'll find it. And then we have LA Regionals next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and sign up on Friday, I guess. I'll be only spectators, so I'll be there like Saturday and Sunday probably. But that will be really exciting. I think we'll get some SoCal players, probably some players from here into day 2, potentially into top 8. Obviously a lot of great players in this region, including a regional winner here. So certainly a lot of opportunity for some really good players to end up running the table through LA, although we'll also have some of the best players in the world coming out here. Really nice location for a regional. And we're gonna get back into this one. Game number 3. So game number 1 went to Alberto. Game number 2 is a game lost to Alberto. Now game number 3. Alberto decided to lead with the Golden Go, but the Golden Go took a lot of damage against the Ivy Cudgel from the Wellspring Ogerpon. It probably would have gotten knocked out by another one. Maguire with the Raichu. Did not bring Raichu to this team, to this battle, even though Raichu's like a little trendy. Got some nice heat to it. It's got Fake Out, it's got Nuzzle, it's got Volt Absorb for Miraidon. But still, no Raichu, despite the Raichu plushie. I actually saw Maguire earlier and saw the Raichu plushie and was like, oh, running Raichu. That's cool. I've seen some Raichu. And then there's no Raichu. We're gonna get underway. Game number 3. See if Alberto decides to go with the same team as last time. We didn't see what was in the back, but presumably Miraidon was in the back. And I think it was Whimsicott? I think it was Whimsicott, guys. I'm telling you that. I'm trying to say it quietly, because even though you can see they've got the headphones and stuff, I try to still say things quietly, because like otherwise I'm like yelling out what these players' strategies are, and I don't really want to do that. I feel like that's probably a bad idea. I'm only like 10 feet away from them. Just across the production side of things. Anyways, game number 3. We're doing it. We're getting into it. Round number 2. You have 5 rounds, probably, maybe 6. I think it's 5. I'm actually not 100% sure. I should have asked between rounds, but now I'm embarrassed to not know. We have 30 players here today for this MSS. A lot of players making their last push to Worlds. This is the Worlds format, so a lot of players who are already going to Worlds are getting their prep in on this format, trying to figure out what they want to play, how they play against certain restricteds, different team archetypes. A lot of very distinct team archetypes in this one. I don't think there's any individually dominant restricted. Zamazenta's really good. Parapagos is really good. Miraidon, Koraidon, Kyogre and Groudon have some value. Plenty of Pokemon have a ton of value in this format. I've seen a bit of Lunala. We might see that on stream later. Going into the Ogerpon this time to follow me to prevent the taunt getting up from the Fridgeraff. So no damage will get down this turn. Golden Go will... I think this is actually better for Alberto, to be totally honest. Because now Golden Go's not taking any damage and is just kind of able to launch damage out there because Ogerpon is now slower. It doesn't have that 2-hit KO threat, and there's nothing the Farigiraf can really do to this thing. It's got Uproar and Dazzling Gleam. It's not going to finish it off in 2 hits. You might be able to get rid of the Flutter Mane, but this Make It Rain is going to be huge. Take out the Farigiraf in 1 hit. Does some serious damage to the Ogerpon as well. Does take Life Orb damage, but still not going to be in range for the Ivy Cudgel, which is going to target the Flutter Mane anyways, and doesn't actually knock out the Flutter Mane. That is a bulky Flutter Mane, and it's going to take out the Ogerpon with the Moonblast. And Alberto now in a really good spot to clean this one up. I'd imagine it's Ursaluna, Blood Moon, and Koraidon in the back. There's the Ursaluna. And there's the Koraidon. And at this point, now you're in a tough spot where you've got to decide. I think at this point, Alberto's not in a... Maguire's not in a terrible spot because I think, key term, I think, you can get out of this without losing take out both of these Pokemon without losing very much HP. I think is something that's very plausible. Because of the Ursaluna's low speed, I think you have to do something like Earth Power into the Golden Go. Alberto could also stall out turns of Trick Room though, which will be very useful. I think at this point Maguire might as well already Terrastalize the Koraidon. Golden Go's gonna protect, no Terrastal here. Koraidon's also gonna protect, so we might see everything protecting here. Flutter Mane protects. What's Ursaluna Blood Moon going to do? I imagine, ooh, Hyper Voice. That's dangerous. That's really dangerous. That wasn't a protect from the Golden Go. I think that Golden Go might have just cleaned up the battle right there. Tried to clean up the Flutter Mane there, but I think you have to target the Golden Go with some big move, probably from Ursaluna, because you have to get that thing out of the way before it's able to get another Make It Rain off. If Alberto wants to go for a Make It Rain now, you kind of force Ursaluna's hand to going for an Earth Power there. Make It Rain will probably end this effectively, because you need the Ursaluna standing, especially to take care of the Miraidon later. And the Miraidon's not choiced, so there are protects to stall out the Trick Room. You'll be able to get all that out of the way. Flutter Mane's going to swap out, actually. Staying on that very low health number. Whimsicott comes in. Might try to Encore potentially. We'll get the Terra now from Maguire. I imagine it's going to be the Koraidon. It is Koraidon Terra Fire. Probably because it's going to attack this turn. Doesn't want to get hit by a Moonblast. Probably smart. Ursaluna does go for the Earth Power into the Golden Go. Does pick up the knockout. That is big for Maguire. Ursaluna does take that little bit of chip from the Life Orb. And Koraidon gets a bulk up. That is very big. Not going to do a whole lot. The physical defense does nothing, literally nothing, but the +1 attack is meaningful. That is one thing. I've seen a lot more Sword Stance than I've seen bulk up on Koraidon, and I think it's because there's so many special attackers in this format. Miraidon's in here now. Brings in the Electric Terrain. Not a lot of Trick Room remaining. Might be a double protect type of beat to get or even, ooh, that is a nice with the Encore. That is a really scary that is a really scary proposition for Maguire. I didn't even think of that. As always, the classic with prankster Pokemon with Encore. Miraidon will protect. Fortunately, I think that Koraidon doesn't really have an answer here, or any option of what it can do. There's the Encore. Be trapped in Encore for a while. Ursaluna goes for the Earth Power into the Miraidon. Doesn't get anything done. Now the question here, bulk up comes through, obviously. Question here, so it's locked. Koraidon is locked in for a couple of turns. What is the plan from Alberto? Trick Room is now down. I think you do have to get rid of the Ursaluna immediately. and take your time with Koraidon. Because at this point, Koraidon is locked down. If you keep Whimsicott standing and take down Ursaluna, Koraidon's done. It can't do anything. Even if your Miraidon's at -2 special attack from the Draco Meteor, which is the only thing it has that will hit Blood Moon. There it is. The Draco Meteor does hit, does take down Ursaluna. And I think that'll mean Alberto will lock this one up. The Encore has Koraidon trapped. Even once it breaks out of the Encore, it'll still be slower, and the Encore from the... Well, it'll be slower than the Prankster, and the Encore from the Whimsicott will be able to keep it locked into what it's doing. Final turn Encore here. There is the Terrastal from Alberto. On to the Miraidon, going to boost its electric type damage, even though it's at -2. The Hadron Engine, Electro Drift, in electric terrain, Terra Electric, a lot of the word electric in there. You can figure that does a lot of damage. And does about half of Koraidon's remaining HP. Whimsicott with a nice little Moonblast. Little bit of extra damage. And Koraidon bulk up again. And the sun goes down as well. Encore ends. But I don't think it'll matter because I think the Koraidon is just going to get Electro Drifted, and it'll be most likely it for this one. I think Koraidon could protect without pace the Encore, but then it would get locked into protect, which is even less useful than bulk up. Whimsicott with the Encore. It's gonna stay stuck in bulk up. And the Electro Drift will finish this one off anyway. And Alberto Lara with a strange 2-1 victory in round number 2. Clutching it with a Chi-Yu in game number 1, taking the game loss, and then coming back with a dominant game number 3 victory. Nicely played, all things considered, from both players. Maguire definitely had some good moments there. But getting that golden go with the big +2 nasty plot, make it rain, get out of that one early in the battle, and then getting that nice switch in with the Whimsicott on the bulk up to clear that one out. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, round number 3 for our Gym Challenge MSS. Don't go anywhere.